welcome to my channel. My name is Andri and today is just another day in the life. And today I'm bringing you another video for our series that's on every Tuesday called Tuesday's Animal Topic of the Day. Again, if any of you guys have suggestions on future topics that you would like me to cover, go ahead and put them down below in the comments section. And it doesn't have to be sugar glider related as long as it's anything to do with pets in general. So it can be about betta fish, it can be about snails, dogs, cats, whatever you'd like to know. Now before we get into our video today, I do have to update you guys on some things that are going on with me, which might make it hard for me to upload videos pretty soon. I'm still going to try to get you your weekly videos, but in the next month or so, it might get increasingly harder to upload those videos. And the reason why is that I was recently diagnosed with a lot of health issues. You might have noticed in some videos, and especially in this one, that I do get short of breath when I'm talking. And it's because I have a lot of health issues going on. I do have Graves' disease, and right now my thyroid levels are at dangerous levels. They're about 3 to 4 times the amount that they should be, which makes me very ill. It increases my heart rate, increases my body temperature, and all of that fun or not so fun stuff. That, and I had an abnormal EKG. I'm basically having a heart arrhythmia every time I breathe. And there's some other things going on with my heart right now that are really not good and could potentially be very bad for me. And I don't know what the future holds, but I will continue to need your guys' support and your patience as I get through this time in my life. And just be patient because I do have other things going on with my kids right now as well. But like I said, I am going to try my hardest to have a video for you guys every week, if not every 2 weeks, but I will be getting you those videos whenever I can. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into my video, and today's topic of the day is to breed or not to breed. That is the question, and whenever we ask that question, in this specific video, I am talking about sugar gliders, but these questions can actually apply to a lot of different species, so keep that in mind. So there's some questions you should ask yourself before you breed, especially when it comes to sugar gliders. And these questions are, first of all, do you have a great exotic and emergency vet? If you don't, then you shouldn't breed. A lot of times emergencies happen. You need to have a vet knowledgeable on sugar gliders, and unfortunately, since sugar gliders are nocturnal, a lot of things happen at nighttime. So you need to have a good emergency vet to where you can take your sugar glider in the middle of the night and they'll be open and they can give the medical attention to your sugar glider that they need. The second question you should ask yourself is, do you have lineaged gliders that aren't related? That is very important. You should also ask, are your gliders on a good stable diet? Do you have time to invest in breeding? Do you have an emergency fund? Do you know enough about genetics? Can you tell the difference between a male and female joey? Do you have extra cages and supplies and a joey rejection kit? Do you know enough about gliders? And do you have enough experience with gliders? If you answered no to any of these questions, then you shouldn't breed. The reason that you want to have a good exotic vet and even an emergency vet that is available at all hours, day and night, is because of the fact that you can deal with things such as mating wounds, and in the case of a joey being rejected, sometimes they will sustain injuries, or they just won't be gaining weight or thriving, so you'll have to take them to the vet to see if any other health issues are going on, or in general, it's good to take the joeys to the vet to get a well checkup done, so you definitely will need to have a vet. Another important thing, it's extremely important, is a staple diet. And the reason for that is because a good staple diet will help with the mother's production of milk. they have mammary glands just like humans and other mammals. So they actually nurse their joeys, and they need those extra calories and the right proportion of vitamins so that they'll have plenty of milk to produce for their joeys. Now, if they're not producing enough milk, that can oftentimes lead to joey rejection. So that's just one thing that's just one of the many ways that you can actually prevent things like cannibalism and joey rejection. You also need a lot of time invested into breeding, because breeding is not something to where you can just let the sugar gliders do their thing and the rest is all good, like some species. Sugar gliders, you actually have to observe them when they're mating, because a lot of freak accidents can happen. Sometimes the male might actually bite down onto the female's neck, and sometimes they don't realize how hard they bite down, and they can create a mating wound on each other. And even if that doesn't happen, there's still a chance that the joey could be rejected, or they could start trying to eat their joey. So you just want to make sure that you have plenty of time dedicated. And in the event of a rejected joey, they require a lot of attention. You have to feed them every 1 to 2 hours, and even some joeys need to be fed every 30 minutes or so during the day, depending on how critical they are and how young they are whenever they get rejected. You also need to have an emergency fund. That's extremely important when breeding any kind of animal, because you'll run into vet expenses that you didn't expect. And not only that, it's always good to save up some extra money in a fund so that you can neuter any male joeys in case they don't go to a home in time. And in general, a responsible breeder will go ahead and neuter the males unless it's someone that's really done a lot of research and they are looking to purchase a joey for breeding purposes. Then that's a little bit different. But any other person just looking for a sugar glider, or if they prove that they are just beginning and have no experience and haven't done any research breeding, it's especially important to go ahead and neuter that joey. Another thing that you need to have is extra cages and supplies, because extra cages are essential in the event that a mating wound occurs. You might have to separate gliders. And also sometimes with the breeding process, gliders will get frustrated at each other and they might try to fight. And if they become too aggressive, you might have to temporarily separate them. And also whenever a joey becomes of age, if they aren't neutered, then you will have to go ahead and separate them, as well as any females, because you don't want any of the daughters to breed with the father that's going to be in the cage. So extra cages are definitely an important thing that you need to have on hand. Breeding is definitely not for the faint of heart, and just because a glider can be bred doesn't mean it should. The only time you should be breeding gliders is whenever you have lineage to prove that they actually are not related, and you need to do a lot of research before you even attempt. And just because you get 2 gliders, one from a different state than the other, even if it's across the country, you can't guarantee without proper lineage that those gliders are not related, because a lot of people travel and gliders just haven't been pets for too long. They haven't been domesticated that long, so it's very likely that they could actually be related, and that's why lineage is very important. Gliders will mate each other pretty much regardless of family status. So a father will readily mate with his daughter and vice versa, and you just can't prevent it because it's a way of life, and sugar gliders don't know the difference between their mother and daughter and son, or they might, but with animals, they go based off of instinct, and if they can mate, they will. So it's best if you have gliders that are related and they're not neutered, And of course you can't spay females, it's too invasive, but if all the males in that cage are not neutered, then you have no business putting them together, because that just increases the chance of abnormalities in the joeys, and a lot of times there are things that go wrong with the joeys that we can't actually see externally, and the parents are more likely to cannibalize those joeys. Gliders also shouldn't be bred young. A common misconception is that gliders can be bred as young as 4 to 6 months, and that is not true at all. A lot of times the younger that you breed a sugar glider, the more inexperienced they're going to be, and chances are that they're probably going to cannibalize their young, or they can easily become stressed out. And just think of it this way. You wouldn't let a young little girl get pregnant just because she's hit puberty. And the same applies for sugar gliders. Just because they are sexually mature doesn't mean that they're ready to be bred. And if you breed them too young, they're still growing, and just being pregnant and carrying the joeys in pouch depletes them of things that they need to complete growing, and it can stunt their growth. And young glider mothers often reject their joeys, so just overall it's not good to breed young joeys. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I apologize for me being short of breath. Today is just one of those days health-wise, but I thank you for all the support. And for those of you that have already suggested topics that I cover, please stay tuned, because I didn't forget about you guys. I am bringing many more videos, and you are definitely on the list for your topic to be covered. If you guys liked the video, or if you learned something new, go ahead and subscribe and like this video, and just stay tuned, and I'll be bringing many more videos to you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, guys. Bye.